Beda reveals that during the Yule season, the Anglo-Saxons worshipped figures known as the Mothers on a night called Mōdraniht, Night of the Mothers. Not much is said about what these mothers are. Whether they were gods or lower divine entities is not specified, yet we see possible parallels among the Norse and the Celts. Both Celtic and Germanic people in northwestern Europe worshipped figures which were known in Latin as the Matres or Matronae, and are usually depicted in threes, with Latin inscriptions on the continent containing both Celtic and Germanic names. The same figures were also worshipped by Romano-Britons. This idol comes from Bath in Somerset. The Matres were offered sacrifices of incense, fruit, and pigs. It seems very likely that this is the same cult Beda was referring to among the Anglo-Saxons, and that these figures represented the ancestral clan mothers held in common by the tribe. Much like the Roman cult of the Lares, their worship cemented community bonds and ensured the collective prosperity of the clan. Beda tells us two seemingly contradictory things about the date of Mōdraniht. He says it was held on the night before Christmas, and that it signified the new year for the Angles. Now the first statement is impossible, because 24th December was determined at the time with the Julian calendar of the Romans, which of course the Anglo-Saxon pagans did not use. As I shall explain later, the Germanic heathen calendars were lunar-solar and determined primarily by the moon. Beda even says that the start of winter is determined by the full moon of Winterfuluth month. The closest parallel to Mōdraniht in Norse sources is called Dísablót, which was a sacrifice for goddesses and other female entities held in Uppsala in Sweden at some point during the winter, perhaps at the start to coincide with the Winter Night's Blot, which signified the new year for the Norse, or perhaps later on. If Mōdraniht was the Anglo-Saxon pagan New Year, then it ought to have been on the full moon of Winterfuluth. But Beda never makes this connection, instead specifying a later date close to Christmas. So perhaps it was on the full moon of December, or perhaps it was on the night before the winter solstice, which would explain why Beda said it was on Christmas Eve specifically. It was certainly in one of the 2 months of Yule.